And so let's get straight into the discussion. And you know, you've all looked at that story, and I want to start with Wangoi. Wangoi Waigwa is a student who sat for KCSE, you said in 2008. Yes. You got your results in 2009. Not what you, it's not a day that you remember very happily, so to speak. Tell us about that day.
Well, I remember very well that day when the results were announced. For me, I thought that I had done well. At least I had anticipated that. And it took me a while before I actually went to get my results, mainly because I was saying my prayers at that particular time. And when I did, they were not what I expected. And that crushed me. That really, for me, I felt doomed. In fact, I looked at my certificate and I saw doom. And having gotten what I got at that particular time, for me, I knew I had no way out. So it really brought me down. And for the longest time, I got into, I could call it time that I knew I was a failure. So everything about me read failure. My talk, my walk, everything. And
what were your friends and family saying? Were they trying to say, no, it'll be fine? Or did you get a sense that even they were looking at you as a failure?
Not my family. I have actually very supportive parents. And but what happened is that we all went quiet. So it was, what did you get? Oh, I got something. I'll be able to get into the university. Yes. So it was not that they had looked at me as a failure. I think it was more of, what do we do for you?
Okay.
What can we do?
So what happened? You got into a dark space in your life. Tell us about what was happening with you during those years.
I remember I did my exams in 2008. So from I got the results in 2009. So from 2009, my life went down. I got involved in very wrong people and wrong places. I got into addictions. I was a drug addict and an alcoholic. And so it was a time of my life where I did not care, mainly because I'm a failure anyway. So it was a very dark moment of my life.
And how did you snap out of it? What is it that made you, what was the turning point? Because you're now pursuing a diploma course, right?
Yes.
So what was the turning point?
My turning point came in about 2012, when I think I had hit rock bottom, and I thought to myself, there must be more to life than this. Whereabout I didn't have any friends. It was one of those times where I was alone, and so after a lot of seeking and a lot of trying to get professional help that didn't help me at that time, I came across a program from a company called Alabastro Network Trust. It's a Renewing Self program that helped me get over that and get to where I am today.
Okay, we'll come back to more about how you've made it and what you're doing right now. Thank you for sharing your story. It's very brave of you. I want to move this now to Stephen. Stephen Nganga, you are a mentor. You are at Strathmore University. Correct me if I'm wrong, you've taught high school and university, or dealt with both sets of students. So have you seen a lot of cases like Wangoi's where students don't get the results they're looking for and end up saying, you know what, there's just no point moving on?
In fact, it's a paradox to listen to your story. In fact, the question I wanted to ask is, I mean, between 2009 and 2012, who was financing this addiction? Because that's very interesting, because you just come out of Form 4. It's true, in the university, at the university setup, results come out. We have had students in the university at the moment who came in January, and they were starting the short courses. And one of the things that we start preparing them is, when your exam results come out, how to accept the results. Because in fact now in the university you see the other side of the problem. not Wangoi's situation. You find a student who has come, they know very well they are going to get an A, and then suddenly they have a B+, and they just hit the bottom.
And from engaging them, is it pressure on themselves, or is it pressure that is put on them by their parents, by teachers? Where is the source of that pressure mostly?
We have an education system that places a lot of emphasis on individual performance, and of course there is a family expectation. The schools, in fact, I have to say, I mean, yesterday I was looking at the dailies. The schools are doing horrible things, keeping students awake from 4 a.m. to 11 in the night. Young brains I mean, that don't need to be awake for that long.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, whose grade is it?
Yeah.
It's not the students.
So it's a combination of the system, the parents,
Yes,
all of that.
The grade is not for the student.
Right.
I think when we're seeing these celebrations all over, the celebration is more about the support structure. The student is just a puppet in it who is being used.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sarah, I want to come to you just now because I know you were saying when I spoke to you a few days ago that it's something you had started to examine, this whole pressure for rankings and grading. So I want to come and get your views on that. But before that, Dina Borus, you're a parent, incidentally, of a student who's done well. So it's the other side of the coin. Do you feel as though you had a lot of input in your daughter's success in her exams? Was there a lot of pressure from you? Were there expectations? Did you tell her if you don't bring an A, you'll see, you wouldn't sleep here? Like, where did it come from?
I think what I have always told my children is that you do your best. Whatever grades you bring, if it's your best and you think it's the best and you did it in the right way, then I will accept. Of course, it doesn't mean that I'm not guilty in one way or another by telling them you just have to pass. But in many times, I just tell them that you make sure you do your best. And I think I also give them free space to decide on like what subjects they ought to take. And no, I also don't restrict really them on what they decide to do, even the courses that they want to do. So I just let them to decide because it's their life. But children are very different, and they all get different grades, and they are all gifted differently, and they need different support. So I just identify which support I need to give to which child.
And you say that your daughter ended up pursuing music, and initially you were against it.
Yes, my daughter wanted to do music, and we thought, well, what shall the music do? And so we said initially no. But over time, she insisted that she wanted to do music, and we are so happy that she did music because she can be able to teach others now, and she's even teaching the choir in the church where we go, and so and I think she's really happy that she did music. And so when results came out, and we told her, what would you like to do? Because we don't promise them in advance, and she said she wanted a piano.
Okay. So she got the piano.
It's coming.
It's coming. She's probably waiting for it. I mean, a little later, I want to ask you maybe about what you would say to other parents whose students, whose children are going to be students soon. Sarah, looking at the system, too much focus on grading, on exams, and like Stephen said, is it that the students is just a puppet? What are your thoughts? You've examined the scenario for a long time. What are your thoughts?
First of all, in the research we do, one of the things we do is to rank districts. Simply because sometimes ranking can help you know where you are. And it is supposed to be able to be information. And so the concept in itself is not necessarily an evil one. However, I think like many have said here in this panel, it is when it is made such an important thing that you then lose out on everything else. Because look at what we have today, where it is the Minister of Education, together with other important government people and all heads of schools who meet in this venue. It is an important ritual. All televisions, radio are focused on this. What are we telling? We are saying that this is a matter of life and death. So first and foremost, I think that we should do away with this fanfare. let it be that examinations, because we have summative examinations, are there to test the curricular expectations, to see if you have got the skills and competencies that were expected of you. And that after that, each child is given their results, because this is about them. It is not about the school they went to. It is definitely not about what the parent expected of them. It is about what the nurturing, because if education is seen as nurturing, where the nurturing has reached them, because again, it is a marathon. Remember, the end of Form 4 is really not the end of life. You're still your marathon, and that's why I think it's good we are a country of marathoners. Let us take that.
Let's take that literally.
It's a good thing to know. A marathon is not about how you start. It is about the stamina you get and how you distribute your strength and your energies across so as to allow you to reach the end. Okay. So ranking is about the thin information. It doesn't tell the entire story. If we are only using the academics to rank, then we are failing our children. Because what about the soft things? And I think it is the soft things that determine success. What about the skills we will get because we play in team sports, like hockey, I don't know, football? What about that? What about what you will get because you're an artistic person who sings? I have never seen anybody who is sad because they had a song or they sang. What about getting joy out of these things, together with many others? Some
people have argued that those should be made compulsory in secondary school. Non-exam subjects, music, you know, some of like the arts, etc. Is that pushing it too far? Is that something that needs to start being considered?
When we start saying compulsory, we start falling into a trap. That for me is the problem. I think we should have a system that has this array of subjects and gives them as much importance as everything else. Yeah. Let us not have this one fit all. So that if I'm a person who seeks dreams only physics and the, I don't know, the stars and etc., good. That is what you are. But if you are in the other, you know, sector, I don't know, you like cooking or you like working with your hands, whatever it is, we need to have a system that has space for that. Yeah. And that's the problem of our system. It is too focused on the academics, too focused also on the sciences. And that is problematic.
Wangui, is that something that can you relate to that? When you were in high school, when you were doing KCSE, were there subjects that were just alien to you, but you knew you had to pass, even though you knew you were not strong in those subjects?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. For instance, for me, I'm very artistic. I like singing, I like acting, and in schools, if you into all that, like for me, I had my teachers always saying, you will never get anywhere because of my artistic side. So I had to sit through a chemistry class that I had no idea what it is. And I still can't even tell you what it is up until now. So I just had to do it because, you know, there's the exam that you need to have something. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can relate to that. Stephen, yes.
Before you shoot the next question, I would say that there are two things here to ask. One, what is education? Why are we educating? We're educating to get responsible people who will play in the theater of society. And society is complete with all parts. So, I mean, I'm a teacher, I need a doctor, I need a plumber, I need a cleaner, and all these noble professions are important. So, I mean, when we focus only on the A student, I mean, in the last year's results, that was only 0.45% of the population. The students who got C+ and above were only 27%. Yeah. What happens to 63%? So there are many things there that one needs to ask. What is education for? And if you're able to answer that, if you're able to provide and say, look, we are preparing citizens who will contribute to the well-being of our society, and everyone is a player, it's important. And I'll give you an example. I have been building my house, and I can tell you, to get a plumber in this market, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
That's funny because before you even continue, very soon we spoke to Mohammed Hersi, who's the new CEO for Heritage Hotels, and I think we'll have a small soundbite from him when I was speaking to him earlier on the phone, he said exactly that. He said you can't find a good plumber, a good electrician, because there are not enough skilled training for that.
Tullow Oil, for example, was recruiting artisans for artisans in electricals, this basic hands-on work in the area where they are doing their expeditions for oil, and they could not get enough people to fill up from the local community. So we as a country, it's important to focus that, yeah, we need those high-end people, but also it's important to know that these other people are significant players. We need to match up everything that they do, and that's important.
I'm just about to throw it back to my colleague Hussein, but again, Stephen, and all of you can comment. How do you get students, let me use Kenya as a scenario, to understand that it's okay to use your hands to make something of yourself? Because let's be honest, that's not what our culture tells us. We still, you know what I mean? We still have a culture that says, you know, conventional jobs, lawyer, doctor, engineer.
I'll just tell you,
and there's nothing wrong with that, but
just one word. My experience in mentoring students in university has shown me one thing. Parents, if you ask a parent, tell me about your child, they will tell you about the academics. They don't know their kids. So, I mean, you have to go back to very basic fundamentals that are missing. That we as parents don't even know our children. We only describe them according to the grades we are getting from teachers.
So we need to get to know our kids better. And you can relate, Dina, because when your daughter said, I want to do music, you thought, what? Do you feel like maybe you didn't know her well enough?
Yes, I think I didn't know well enough, and I think I was focusing more on academic at that particular moment. But then with time and having been out of the country, I just realized that everybody has a role to play to build the nation. Just as my colleague has said, whether you are doing the plumber job or you are just constructing or whatever you are doing, whether you are cleaning, or you're just typing or just sending letters.
Everyone has a role.
Everybody has a role.
Okay, I need to hand it over to Hussein. When we come back, we'll also look at how to move forward. What next? Hussein, over to you.
Right, Janet, just a small observation. Not only is it using hands or training people how to use their hands, but that is brains. It's not only hands, because if you do a job with your hands, you're using your brains still. Of course, our news poll question tonight, we're asking, is the student's future determined by exam results? Send us your comments to 24422 and on Twitter using the hashtag MondaySpecialKE. Kache from Likoni in Mombasa says, a failure in school is not a failure in life. I had a C- now doing my diploma, and I'm happy because I'm always the best in class. And then we have Robert in Nairobi. Kenya is living in an academic fallacy. Why do we think that A is equal to medicine? Why don't we stop and consider other competencies that will complement the A grade to produce a doctor who loves the job? Well, keep sending us your comments. Right now, I'm joined by 30-year-old Bernard Maina. Thank you very much for making time for us tonight. Bernard's story is interesting, and I'll just let him tell us.
Well, Hassan, I'm in business. Yeah, cleared Lenana High School in 2001. The grades that I got were probably not the best grades ever. Yeah, but I managed to go through life and create a successful business. Yeah.
What grades? What grade did you get in high school?
I actually got a D+.
A D+.
Yeah.
How did you feel then when you got the D+?
Well, just like any other student who's out of high school, getting a D+ is actually close to the end of the world. Yeah.
Why are you expecting this? Was there, I mean, when you're doing your exams in Form 4, in first term, second term, or Form 3, were you expecting such a thing?
No, no. To be honest, reading through the late nights, we actually expect to get a good grade, an A, a B, a C. Yeah.
So would you say you were, I mean, how was it in school for you? Did you love reading? Were you somebody who loved books? When teachers kept telling you must read to pass the exams and everything, did you love to read and everything?
No, that was not my stronghold. Books were not my stronghold at all. Yeah.
Okay. So you got your D+.
Yeah.
You went to look at your results yourself, I believe?
Yeah, actually, I sent a friend to go look at my results.
Because you're scared.
Yeah, because you're scared and you don't know what to expect. Yeah. So I sent a friend who came back with my results, and the hardest part was breaking the news to my parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you took the results with shock as well?
Yeah, yeah.
And you told your parents?
Yeah,
and
I
how
did.
was it? How did they react to it?
Well, they were all shocked. I mean, you've gone through high school 4 years, and you know they really expected, you know, this is what is going to fit to create your future. You know, what you get from high school is what you become later in life.
You were 18, an 18-year-old then,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
Did you feel like a failure in life already
Yeah.
at that point?
Yeah, at that point you feel depressed, just name it. Everything goes through your head, you know, you feel sad, you feel, you know, you've really let your family down, you know, your friends. You actually feel that this is the end of life, you know, there's nothing beyond this, you know, this is the end. Yeah, because with such grades, you don't look forward to go to university. With such grades, you don't look forward to go to college, you know.
What did you look forward to?
You look forward to join a Kenya Polytechnic, you know, or a technical institute, you know, or to end up, you know, in the Juakali sector, something like that, you know. You visualize yourself, probably you'll have to end up opening a small-time business in your estate and staying there for the rest of your life.
So what did you do then? What happened?
I was very stubborn. You know, I had a dream. I really looked forward to being in business. You know, I loved business. So I really talked to my parents and made them understand that I need to go to business school, whatever it takes. Yeah, that was not the case. My parents convinced me to go to a electrical school whereby I can get employment or self-employment faster.
Which again you didn't want to?
I didn't want to do it, but since, you know, at that point of time, you don't really have a voice in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I marched on and went to do my electrical engineering. I dropped out after 1 month.
Again, your parents
Yeah,
disappointed.
again, I'm back home and I'm telling them, this is not what I want. You know, I want to do business management. Yeah. And when I told my parents exactly what I want to do, what type of business I wanted to do, I told them I want to do tours and travel. I want to start my own company. And that's, they didn't understand it. You know, they didn't understand how you would, from a D plane to owning your own safari company, you know, is that really visible, you know? So with persistence and everything, eventually they did take me to business school. Yeah. And soon after I left business school, I started my dream. I started tours and travel company.
Okay.
Online.
When was that?
Yeah, that was in 2006. Yeah.
You got the capital from your parents again?
No. I did not get any capital. Yeah. I used no capital. Yeah. So what I used to do is sell a service that is related to tours and travel, mostly transport. Yeah. So I'd come and get you, the owner of the van. I'll go out looking for clients. Yeah. I'll offer the transport service, convince you to offer the service. I get paid and I pay you. Yeah.
Right.
Or alternatively, I'll trust the owner of the transport company. Yeah. Sell the service and eventually they pay me.
That was about 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah.
You're about 32, 33.
Yeah.
Right. Now you have your company.
Now I have my company.
You have a van and you have...
We still don't have a van.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're still working towards getting vans and all that. Yeah. But we do own vehicles for transport and taxi services. Yeah.
Where is that? Where do you operate from?
My company is based in Karen.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much would you say your company is worth, or your worth right now?
As from last year, 2 million.
2 million.
2 million a year.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Did you have such a dream, like business? Did you have this mind when you were in high school? Did you ever think of doing business while still in high school?
Well, that's where it started. I ended up in the entertainment committee in Lenana. I would say Lenana gave me the opportunity to be someone else besides my books. So we, in the school, being in the entertainment committee was more or less like a trade, whereby you actually get paid to sell tickets, and you get paid on commission. Yeah, and yeah, so I'll probably say that's where I got the interest. That's where I learned the trade, and you know, I liked organizing events, organizing students to join, to go watch a movie. We would organize concerts, invite artists from outside to come perform in the school, you know, such things. Yeah.
And the disclaimer here, of course, tonight is that we're not saying exams are not important. We're just asking if a student's future is determined by exam results, because some are rated at failures immediately they fail the exams. Currently, we have yes at 10% for our news poll, is the student's failure determined by exam results, and no there at 90%. Let me ask you that question before we go to Janet. Is the student's future exam, you know, determined by exam results?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all. Because the students, I think teachers, lecturers know this. The students who come in from Form 1 to Form 2, Form 3, they have the A grades, yeah? There are students who come and they see a pattern. They see a pattern of C's, they see a patterns of D's, right? And I think the teachers should be able, they're the ones responsible to identify that student. Fine, you're not passing in your books, but you excel in
something else.
You excel in basketball, you excel in rugby. You're really great in woodwork, you know, you're really great, you're a great artist, yeah? You really like organizing events, yeah? I think it's the teacher's responsibility as well as the school's responsibility to identify these students. I'm not saying education is not important. It is important, yeah? But take the students and also emphasize more on his art class, yeah? Let him or her excel more in art, yeah? If I probably be getting a D in maths, but I can actually draw your face. You get
right,
yeah?
Right. Okay, Bernard Minor, thank you so much. Now excelling in tours and travel, his dream, 30-year-old businessman. Janet, back to the discussion you were having there. Again, what Bernard is saying, do we have avenues? Yes, education is important, but some may have talents in different areas. Do we have avenues, you know, to exploit that when the children are young in high school?
Right, Hussein, and I think that's the point we're trying to make. While we celebrate, really celebrate the students who've performed well, we have to look at the options for those who haven't. It's a reality that's on the ground, and we kind of have to ask, if you're not academically inclined per se, yes, it should be encouraged and inspired, but then what options do you have? And just from what he said, from what Bernard has said, Sarah, if I can ask you, you get, when you go for career talks, for instance, when career talks are taken to schools, and maybe Wangui can attest to this, you get doctors and engineers and lawyers and top performing, you know, A-star students, former A students coming and talking to the children. How do you make that child who's sitting there, who knows that they constantly get D's and E's, not because it's their fault, they're working hard, for some reason they're struggling. How do you then, what kind of person should be taken to talk to those students and make them realize that there is a future for them? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the choice we make, I think, is very alienating to different kinds of children. And for that, perhaps I'd like to refer to Chinua Achebe. I'm reading, I don't read as much as I should, but I'm reading an essay he wrote where he recalls that when he was in his school, his math teacher, who was the head, I think, insisted that on 3 evenings a week, he did not want any child in his school to touch a textbook. You do whatever you want, play ping pong, lie around, do whatever it is, but no textbook. He called it the Textbook Act. But then he had a library. And so Chinua Achebe was saying that if that head teacher came back today, he would not realize that actually he laid the seeds of what were the great writers to come for that first generation, such as Chinua Achebe himself, Christopher Okigbo, and many others. You remember the African Writers series who came from there.
All right, sorry, so I'm going to have to interrupt you, Sarah. We have a phone call. We will tell you what our phone our phone lines are. But I don't know whether we have the line now. Do we have someone on the line?
Hello.
Okay, your name and your question, please.
Yes, Janet, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Please tell us your name and your question.
I'm Rita. I'm calling from Kisumu.
Okay.
I have a question for the panel that you have around.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a son that has really given me sleepless nights.
Okay.
He's not actually good academically, but he's very good. He's talented in a lot of things.
Okay.
He sings, he writes his own songs. He's a very good swimmer.
Okay.
A very good basketballer.
Okay.
A good runner.
Okay.
And a good swimmer.
Wow, so very good in sports.
Very good in sports.
Okay.
But he has left all the talents that God gave him.
Okay.
And now I'm wondering what really to do with him.
How old is he, if I may ask?
He turned 23.
He's so why did he leave his talents behind?
I mean, that is the question. Maybe the panel can help me answer this.
Okay, so what is he doing right now?
Oh, we just got, I may say, not really a permanent job.
Okay.
But something to keep him. You know, he's old enough, he cannot just stay in the house.
Okay, but is he happy? Do you feel like he's not happy?
I mean, he's not happy.
Okay. Okay.
And we are not happy too.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. We'll address this. We'll send this to the panelists and maybe we can get your views all round. He's, as she says, passionate mother, loving mother. He's unhappy, 23 years old, left behind all his talents. What do you think? And he's not good academically.
I think I would say this. That lady is talking for many parents that I have met in my years in the university, of students who are not motivated, have skills that have been identified maybe or not identified, and then they don't have a platform. But I say, if the fellow picked out something, you say he's good in basketball, he's good in
swimming.
Yeah. For example, Super Sports is big here. They are looking for commentaries. I mean, people who can do commentary. And I can tell you, if you are a good rugby player and you get to Super Sport, they want people who have played the sport to do the commentary. And that's a big time job. And that's what I'm telling we tell our sports students in the university. Play the game. Fine, if you can finish your degree, finish your degree. But you can get into super sports. You can get to, so there are avenues. Maybe it's just a question that the families need to sit down, discuss, talk together, identify one thing, and explore the options. And explore the options.
All right.
I think I would definitely differ with you, because what is happening is that they're dealing with the symptoms. They're getting him a job to keep him busy, forgetting him. You say sit down with the parents and everyone and discuss, but where is his voice at this? Where is him saying, this is what I want for myself, not what you think I'm good at?
No, precisely, that's what I'm saying. By calling for a discussion, a sit-in, because he's a 23-year-old, a discussion with him, so that you can identify, he's a good swimmer, he's a good basketballer,
what can we do with it?
Where do you feel comfortable, so that we can explore and expand? Okay. That's the whole. You
agree with that now?
I could agree with that, because having been where he is, you know, and I think for me, I needed to be heard. I didn't need people to tell me what they think I should do, what they think at my age, what someone, you know, what there's, you know, people my age are doing. So I think, yes, I agree as well that I needed to be heard. So
all right,
yes,
we have to wind up. Time has completely gone. Dina, you look like you want to say something, and I was also going to ask you about, as a parent, how do you, like what Wangui is saying, and Stephen, and Sarah to some extent, how do you urge other parents to make sure that it's the children's voices being heard and not their own voices, you know what I mean, not their own thoughts and views being imposed on their children? As a parent who's gone through that, how would you encourage other parents to do the same?
I would tell them that children are so unique and they need to live their life, not your life. They need to do what they would like to do, what they feel, just like Wangui says she's good at artists, or the young man who is good at swimming. That's their life and they need to live their life. So let them, give them the space, support them in that way. And this young man, 23, is never too late to go back and, you know, do what he is good at. So you can sit, as my colleague has said, they can sit together and agree and, you know, try to make him happy, because your life, there is no rehearsal. So you've got to live a life and enjoy now and be happy now. So let him do what God has given to him, the talents that he has, and he can still do a lot and take this nation, you know, to a higher level than even what he's doing right now.
You seem very open-minded. Have you always been that kind of parent? You don't seem as rigid, and you know, a lot of students complain, my parents want me to do this. But for you, it doesn't seem that way. Have you always been sort of open to what life brings your way?
Yes, I think I've always been open. Like, even though my daughter did very well, many people would think that we'd tell her to go and do medicine or neurosurgeon, but she actually wants to be an economist, and we are ready to let her go to that, even though she's done very well, because that's what she wants and that's what she likes, and she will still do so much to the nation, you know, as an economist, and she'll be happy.
An economist stroke musician.
Yes,
sounds very interesting. Thank you so much, Dina. Stephen, your final remarks as well.
I'd say two or three things. One, we have a crisis here. When you hear 63% not making it, remember in Standard 8 there was another percent that didn't make it. So it's a much bigger population that you need to factor in. And secondly, that everyone is important. All honest jobs need honest people. I mean, I always tell my students, if we went to that university and the cleaners were not there for a day, we would not be in that university. So any honest assignment deserves better treatment. Of course, we need to improve the economies of all these jobs, and it's happening. Blue collar is becoming real big. So we need to revisit, and then lastly, to revisit that question, what are we educating for? What is the goal of education? Because the goal of education is about improving a person, not a mass of people. It's a person. And every individual in this society counts. Every individual is important. So whether the fellow gets an E and another one gets an A, all these individuals are important and can play in this theater.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Stephen. Sarah, you were saying something. You can finish your point and then give your closing remarks.
Yeah, I think let us not delimit our thoughts as to where education can come from. It comes from places and spaces you least think of. The speaker there was saying that he was in the entertainment industry. He got a vision and a skill from there. And therefore, in this regard, because we spend so much time in schools, when we are thinking about schools of excellence, remember a lot of money was put about a year or two ago, let us widen our scope. That a school of excellence is not only one that has a well-functioning library or a laboratory only. It is one that also has many other opportunities, because it is in interesting things that we learn sometimes the things that will last with us forever. If you are a Girl Scout, a head girl, I do not know, maybe tomorrow you will be the successful manager. And let us make place and space not only for the curriculum but also for the other things, because I think they matter perhaps a little bit more in terms of defining success.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. Wangui.
I think for me it's just a word of encouragement for the ones who are in my position, that it is possible. It is possible to get out of that. There is life after that D. There is so much more that you can do, because education is just a way of, you know, weighing us into the society. Not necessarily that we have to be the lawyer, we don't have to be the doctor. We all play a very important part, as he said. So it is possible for you, it is possible for your loved ones as well, to get to where you want them to be.
Okay. Yes. Thank you all so much for your thoughts and views. Wangui, best of luck. You said you're an entrepreneur?
Yes, I am. I have a company called Minute Bamboo Flooring. I do floors.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well done, and of course, all the best. We are going to come back right after this break and sample some of your feedback with Hussein. Stay with us. Welcome back to the final part of Monday's special, and I'm joined by my colleague Hussein Mohammed. A look now at our news poll question tonight. Let's see if we can bring that up for you on our screens before we sample the percentage. Is a student's future determined by exam results? 91% no, 9% yes. Hussein has some SMSs.
Right. Florence in Nairobi says no. My math teacher in high school called me useless because I was poor in math. Today I have a diploma in theology.
Wow.
And I'm preparing to go back for my degree. I feel very fulfilled when I see lives being transformed through my service as a pastor. And then we have Ahmed from Mombasa saying education is a measure of academic qualification and a must for one to be considered for employment. Technical ability is something that has been neglected at the expense of academic ability. Stephen says, I think ranking and grading enables students to have focus and motivation in their studies. Imagine a situation where teens all over the country are not given the promise of a reward by recognizing their efforts. Their interest will then shift to other undesirable activities. And finally, Stephen Musumba from Dori, no, your future depends on your persistence.
All right, so those are SMSs. Let's have a look at what you were saying on Twitter. A look at some of your tweets now. At Seven Rahim says, results do not necessarily determine your future. Result slip is not a pay slip. Wow. Okay. At the real Njeru's 17, passing exams doesn't guarantee a great future. Great people like Richard Branson, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs made billions without a college degree. Not to say we are discouraging people from pursuing degrees. At CK Sydney says, failing an exam is not a life prison term. One can still be the best in their life only if they remain focused.
At J Khadija, KCC results are crucial, but they don't determine our future. The will and urge to move forward is what matters. We have at Sikogutu, excellent performance in exams counts, but we must accept that there are also successful failures, so to speak. And somebody here is asking what? And at Ambani Nel, failure is not an option. Instead, make it to be a badge of honor in your life.
It's powerful.
Right.
At OJM Mabosco, I hope I've said that well. You may fail in your KCSE, but not in life. And then at Remo Mercy says, your result slip doesn't always determine your pay slip. There is more to life than grades. I don't know if we have any else. That's the last tweet. Thank you all so much for your feedback, for engaging us on Monday Special KE. All the best to a lot of you who want to pursue other options. And I'm Janet Mbogo. Have a good night.
Good night, I'm Hussein Mohammed.